So it's quite hard to pick the right device for you. It can be different preferences that you enjoy on a said phone, but then just fails at other things. But it gets even more competitive in the mid-range and starting off the mid-range prices. One, there are so many different phones and different brands out there for that price range. And two, well, again, the preference. Which one is actually for you? Well, one phone that I can somewhat consistently say for around that price that does well, one phone brand that is Poco. Of course, Xiaomi as well here. The Poco X4 GT is one of their latest devices. And overall, again, I'm quite impressed. But there are some things to note when it comes to the Poco X4 GT. So, the Poco X4 GT, just straight away, let's just start with the display, which is the main thing that I really want to note. With of course the Poco X4 you got a beautiful AMOLED display that was really bright and really good. Definitely a phone I would easily recommend, especially when it comes down to said display. It's really good for the price itself. However, with the Poco X4 GT you do get a different approach. Of course it's an LCD panel with 144 Hz. But the biggest thing is, it's definitely not as bright and viewing angles aren't as nice as of course on the Poco X4. With that being said, I don't think it's a bad display, it just cannot compete with of course the X4 itself. Yes, 144 Hz is nice, but definitely I would have liked to see of course an AMOLED display, especially the one that you can see on of course the Poco X4. Now, I said a negative, let's do something really positive here as well. Speakers on the Poco X4 GT are excellent. They are really good, especially for the price itself. And of course you do get stereo speakers. I think they've done a really good job when it comes to that. Audio quality coming out of this is really good. And yes, if you are wondering, it does have a headphone jack on the top. And that means that you can properly listen to audio without latency. And yes, there is latency in Bluetooth. No one can deny that. It simply is there. Bluetooth has latency, always will have that as well. But either way. No latency audio and no charging of your headsets or anything like that. So yes, the Poco X4 GT definitely has that headphone jack that I truly love. So let's continue, and let's continue with the camera, something that I find really important when it comes to, of course, a phone. Something else to note is that of course the Poco X4 GT doesn't come with a Snapdragon CPU, it actually comes with the Dimensity 8100. Overall the CPU is fast, it's a snappy CPU and I really don't have any issues in day-to-day performance. Playing games and so on works perfectly fine on of course the Poco X4 GT. Really no issue if you are wondering. I don't think Dimensity makes really bad CPUs these days, but overall, yeah, performance it's really well and it's close to everything like it should. So really, in terms of performance, when it comes to CPU, GPU, all good when it comes to, of course, the Poco X4 GT. So, for if you are wondering, my version has 128GB of internal memory and 8GB of RAM, and of course this whole virtual 3GB of extra memory as well. But, can you expand the memory? Can you expand it via the micro SD? At the bottom, of course, we have our slot itself. Now, if you pull it out, first thing we will actually notice is that you actually have some water protection. So we do have some of that. But also we will notice that it's dual SIM. But sadly not the possibility of actually putting in the SIM and the micro SD slot. Which is a shame, but it is what it is. Yeah, we don't have that option sadly when it comes to of course the Poco X4 GT. And also, if you were wondering, currently I'm running the MUI 13.03 version. So that's the latest version that I have on it right now. And that's from the latest updates in terms of security is the 1st of June 2022. So what is my impression at the end with the Poco X4 GT? Overall, it's a solid phone. For the price itself, you get a lot. The only thing I will say is, again, is the display. Well, it's a good LCD panel for the price itself. I wish they did that AMOLED display that you see in, of course, the Poco X4. Also, something noteworthy is that you actually do get a charger with your phone itself. You get a case with the phone, and of course you have a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is also really lovely, and some water protection as well. So overall, the Poco X4 GT, for myself, if I look at it, yeah, definitely this is a phone that can work really well. Images at the end, for instance, that are coming from the camera, that's something that leaves to preference, which I cannot judge for you. And if I will have to say something where it has weaknesses, of course, the ultra-wide. Would have liked to see a little bit of a bump up when it comes to that ultra-wide, but it was the same with the X4. I think overall though, it is a really solid phone for the price itself. Either way, let me know what you think about the Poco X4 GT. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and of course comment below. Doing those things truly helps out this channel, and of course, it helps me get to that 1K subscriber and so on. Either way, talk to you guys in the comments, and of course, see you in the next video.